Welcome to the Straight Up the Don Hanston Show. Our hosts are going to push the limits, but create an environment where it's safe to uncover the crap that holds you back so you can survive the mediocrity of today's life. And they'll be admitting and revealing their own experiences so you can learn the skills and attitude you need to be who you are. Warning to all listeners, if you have thin skin and get offended easily by harsh, direct, or somewhat offensive content and language, then this podcast may be overwhelming. However, we believe pulling your blinders off and viewing things from a real perspective may feel invigorating and may be the very thing that may cause you to expand your capabilities exponentially.
Over 80,000 pages to be released today. This is Straight Up, the Don Hanston Show. Along with Don, I'm Sal. Welcome to the show. And our producer, DJ Marcel, thank you for joining us. Don, we have a lot of topics to talk about today and very little time to discuss them, so let's get right into it. It was announced yesterday by President Trump that Pam Bondi is going to release over 80,000 pages from the JFK files today, and he did make a comment that he asked that hardly any of it be redacted. So it should be an interesting afternoon. As of coming on the air, there was no release yet, but we are waiting every minute for that to be released. So we're going to see what was going on many years ago, back in, 63, 62? I don't remember.
I think, I think it was 1963. But, the interesting part about this is, this should have been out a long time ago, and it just keeps getting buried. And we're going to find out, they're obviously going to come out with information, but the information that shows that they're actually guilty of the execution of President Kennedy, I find it hard to believe that they're going to come out, because I believe the deep state is still in control of the CIA and the FBI. So, are they going to come out? Yeah, they're ordered to. They're going to come out with a lot of stuff, but is it going to prove who's really guilty of all this? I mean, I kind of find it hard to believe that they will, because I believe that the deep state is deeper than it was back then. So, I know that Trump and Musk are trying to get to the bottom of all this. And maybe they will, but it's been buried, I think, and I think soft shoeing it. I know a lot of people think they're very harsh, but in my opinion, they're soft shoeing it a little bit. If there was actual heavy duty repercussions for burying information and not following orders of the United States president, there should be serious repercussions. And I know that, what can they do? Fire them. I mean, if people actually went to jail because they buried some information, I think things would change. I think that things need to get stricter in order to get what it is that we need. But we're going to find out today, and I'd be very interested. But just like the Epstein file, they came out with the Epstein file, but there was no incriminating evidence. Didn't really show much, information that people could be prosecuted or really dragged through the mud on the media. And so I think that all the people that were guilty of all the molestation and all the human trafficking and everything else through the Epstein file, I think all that was still buried. So, did they come out with some information? Yeah. Did they come out with relevant information? Maybe, but they didn't come out with incriminating information. So I think the deep state is just a little too deep, and I think that they really need to get involved in all of this.
I think something has to be going on, because why would they bury this report and say that it cannot be opened for another 40, 50 years? If they weren't covering something up, I don't think they would have did that. And they wanted to clear. I don't think anyone now, the last gentleman, Secret Service guy, who was the guy that jumped on the back of the vehicle when Jackie Onassis was, everybody thinks, trying to flee the vehicle, which wasn't the case. Secret Service said she was actually scooping up parts of Kennedy's brain and skull and trying to put it back in his head. Everybody thought that video showed her trying to get out of the car, but that Secret Service guy who jumps on it in an interview I seen said that wasn't the case. She was trying to grab his brain and put it back in his head, which is terrible. But he just passed away. The only other people that are still alive is Lee Harvey Oswald's wife, who's in her late 80s now, who remarried. Her husband just died recently. and Oswald's two kids. And one of them is a very prominent, I think, real estate mogul, but they changed their last name, so they're hard to find. But those are the only people I heard that are still alive. So there's absolutely no reason to keep this thing covered up. And I think it's going to be a little damning to see some of the things that our government did back then. But this is all speculation, obviously.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Is there a reason why it's covered up? Absolutely. But I think it's not just waiting for all these people to die, right? So nobody goes to jail or I think it's the integrity, the election integrity, who it is that we vote in, right? So if we believe that we vote somebody in, okay, which has been a question in the last couple of elections, and we have the person, leading our country, and our government doesn't approve of who it is that we want leading our country, and they just execute him. What they're saying is that the deep state is in control of our government, not the United States citizens. So that in itself is the reason why. It's not just to wait for all these people to croak and there's no one to arrest because they're already dead. Okay, it's the integrity of the whole system, the governance of the United States of America is at question because the people want to think that we're in control. We voted this guy in, okay, and this is who we wanted. Okay, so the first thing was the election integrity, which we dealt with in the election of 2020. Okay, and then and now it's if they're trying to bury the fact that the citizens don't actually run the government, but the deep state does, all of a sudden there's no more faith. Like the government is here to serve its citizens. The citizens are not here to serve the government, and so that's the flip, right? The flip is, which is contrary to the lamestream media, where they were trying to make it seem, when they were crushing, free speech, and but they were saying that the Republican Party was the fascist and the ones that were suppressing free speech, the old reversal. But really, what it was is the lamestream media is bought and paid for by the deep state, and so the deep state needs to have the United States citizens still believe that they're true and they're a servant of the citizen, not the other way around. And I think that they lose integrity once people figure that out.
Well, we're going to see, because hopefully they all get released today, like they said. And that kind of segues over to the thing that I had just found out yesterday. And I'm going to tell you, I took a course in college on the JFK assassination, which was fascinating. And I know what I left thinking when the class was over. It basically comes down to, I think the government knew what was going on and didn't try to stop it, which I think is probably maybe what happened to Trump in Pennsylvania, because that was so obvious. But the thing that I learned was that I didn't know there was a photograph that's been circulating all these years, and it's referred to as the wink. Now, I talked with producer Marcel, and he said he's going to put this photo up on our website in reference to this show. So anybody listening can go to our website and look at the picture. And Don, what it is, after Kennedy passed away, they were on Air Force One. LBJ was being sworn in as the new president. Standing next to him was Jackie Onassis, still in her coat that she was wearing in the car, which still had blood on it from her husband. And I later heard that, I was told this morning, that she wanted to wear that for a while. She refused to take that jacket off. And in this picture, after he gets sworn in, LBJ turns around, and you can see he's got a smirk on his face. And there is one of the guys from, I don't know if he was in Congress or a senator, Albert Thomas. You see this still photo, he's winking at him. He gave him a wink. And I guess all these years they were like, what was the wink for? Was something up? Did they know what was going on? And when I looked at the picture, when you look at it, it's just very suspect. Very suspect. So you're going to have to check that out, Don.
Well,
Because I'm curious
well,
about
we
that.
all have perspectives on all this, and we nobody really knows. But in the overall realm of things, okay, you know, there's a reason why. There's always a reason why,
Hmm.
and if you look at it, okay, Lyndon B. Johnson actually signed some paperwork before Kennedy was actually assassinated. Before, no, I take that back. He signed some paperwork before he was dean. What do they say? The coroner's office says that he's dead. So confirmed that he's passed away.
Oh, the death
Yes,
certificate?
before that was even signed, there was paperwork signed by Lyndon B. Johnson. So, I mean, the whole thing is very suspect. And then the fact that they kept us buried for, I don't know how many years, was it 50 some odd years, 60 years,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It shows, right? When people are not transparent, there's a reason why, okay? And you know this, being a policeman, like I always say when we're on the show, is when people bury information, okay, there's a reason why, okay? They didn't just bury
Yeah.
it because, they don't remember or whatever. There's a reason, okay? And it's usually an incriminating reason, okay? And if it's been buried this long, it shows that there's a lot of prominent people that were involved, right? It's going to be the same thing with the Epstein file, right? All the people that have been involved in terrible crimes against children and everyone else, it's gonna be buried so heavily because the people that are involved are so prominent. And so, if some idiot like me wants to bury something, I could bury it, but I'm not a prominent dude, so it's not going to be that well buried. But when you're in control
Right.
of governments and everything else, medias and governments and judges, well, it's very easy to keep this stuff buried.
Yeah, and that's what they're definitely trying. They're definitely trying to hide something, or else they wouldn't have buried this and then put that stipulation on there that these files cannot be made public for another 50 or 60 years. So that is what's going to be interesting, and that's pretty much dominating the news today. But there's a few other things that I wanted to get to as well. We also had, over the weekend, President Trump approved that the Houthis, they're kind of like a terrorist pirate organization in a sense, funded by Iran. They were blocking the shipping paths, and a lot of our shipments have been delayed, and like Amazon and stuff like that, they said, because they were forced, these companies, to ship and go all the way around Africa, which added $1 million to each cargo ship extra going around. Well, he decided, Trump, finally, to bomb them, so those shipping canals are opening up now, so it should be a lot easier. But he had that done on this weekend. I don't know if you got to see any of that.
No, no, I didn't. I didn't.
No.
I didn't even hear about that actually. But I'm
Yeah.
not a news guy. I don't watch the news. I just, I read reports and datas and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of these organizations that are out there, whether it's terrorist groups or militant groups or whatever, a lot of them are, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create expense, right? Expense, and there's always a reason behind it, but expense for in that instance for the United States, right? Controlling the waterway, and him bombing them. You know what? A lot
Yeah.
of the stuff that a lot of people may not agree with, especially people on the left, you know, like like I don't understand why. It's kind of like it's like Doji. I'm burying 55 billion dollars, and oh, that's wrong. It's kind of like Trump sending 260 um, terrorist criminals over to El Salvador. Okay, and then they
Yeah.
got judges and people saying that's wrong. Well, okay, well, why don't we drop them off at your house and they can stay at your freaking house then? And then
Yeah, like that judge,
yeah,
right?
him bombing these Houthi and the blowfish people over in the that are blocking the waterways. I'm sure the left is probably like, oh my God, he's going to start World War III. No, what he's doing is he's creating independence and he's creating wealth for the United States. So I think that the people that are against it are either watching too much TV or they're on the take.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, that left-leaning federal judge, who's not even an appeal court judge, told Trump and them that the planes needed to turn around and come back. Now, he was appointed by Obama, so he's pretty much left. Why he would want that gang, Tren de Aragua, back.
MS-13, whatever those things were.
Some of them bad people. But I guess Trump and them said, yep, too late. They're already over international waters. But there are hearings going on right now as we speak about this. But they did not send them back.
That judge, they're working on the impeachment of that judge right now. There's going to be a lot of repercussions for this guy, okay?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
But let's just hope, and I know I seen the video. I don't know if you got to see the video. They had them, coming in all bent down, and then they shaved their heads and all their facial hair. And that's good because they're going to live a miserable life now. That's
good. I mean, here's the thing, okay? Criminals, especially in the last 4 years, have been rewarded for being criminals, okay? And so it's no big deal. You want to go kill some people, want to kill some police, you want to go, whatever you want to do, that's totally cool. You're not going to get in trouble. As a matter of fact, we're gonna sign you out with an I bond. No, you don't even need cash to bail out. But so it's all, three hot and a cot, the whole scenario, a little downtime so you can rest up for your next crime, not nonsense. But the thing is if all of a sudden it's very impactful on a negative basis to be a criminal, right? And it's going to be a miserable life from here on in. It's going to stop a lot of crime, okay? It's going to stop a lot of crime. I was talking to a friend of mine, not to get off on the subject, but he's Polish guy. And he says, in Poland, he goes, how safe it is. And he sent me some videos and, in comparison to Chicago, New York, this and that. And he says, you know why it's so safe? He goes, because we have such strict immigration laws and rules. He says, if you try to cross that border, okay, they have live bullets. They will shoot and they will kill you. And I said, wow, that's really interesting. Are you sure? And he said, yeah, live bullets. Look it up. So anyways, the moral to the story is they don't want the crime in their country. And it's safe. I mean, the one guy was walking through the worst neighborhood in Poland, and he's like, yeah, I just wanted to see how bad it was, and it's really bad, and there's people cruising around on bikes, and people sitting on the curb eating lunch, and I was like, wow. Yeah. And then, but the thing is the repercussions need to be intensified if you want to get rid of this criminal activity that's kind of destroying the United States, instead of welcoming it and saying, hey, if you got any criminals, we want them in the United States because we want this place to be unsafe. Who thinks like that? That makes no sense to me.
I still don't understand it. And it's like we have our own homegrown criminals. Why do we need to invite out of the country criminals here? And that's what we did. But now that Trump is striking toward the proxy Houthis of Iran, I seen General Blaine Holt, who's retired now, make a statement on Newsmax saying we should be very careful now because Iran is ticked off. They're going to want to retaliate. And let's not forget, we've had the borders open for 4 years. So how many sleeper cells are here? And all they're doing is waiting for the word. So we have to be very diligent now of what's going to happen because we were so porous for 4 years. And I'm sure there's a lot of them here already.
Of 22 million people, I mean, you do the percentage, right? If it's 1%, right, that's terrorists. 1%. You do the math. You tell me how many it is. I don't even know. It's a lot. Anyways, but you know what? I always say there's a reason behind, right, the nonsense. There's always a method for the madness, right? And so here's you can call it conspiracy theory, whatever. This is what goes through my head. Nobody told me this. I just think this. When you look at the United States, the most prominent cities, right? The wealthiest, the best cities, the highest real estate values, right? You had New York, you had Chicago, you had Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland. You had all these great places. Well, if you look, they've been infested, okay, with these corrupt liberal Democrats, okay, that have completely destroyed. And here's my theory, okay. I think, okay, that the Chinese have been so involved because if you look into it, they've purchased a lot of land here in the United States. And I think
Yeah.
that the whole thing on a much bigger level was here to destroy all of our greatest cities in America so the Chinese could swoop in and pick this stuff up at pennies on a dollar. And that's my theory on the whole thing. And I think that's why Trump is like, we don't want these people in these other countries to own real estate in the United States, which I agree with. I agree that should be shared with the citizens of the United States, and that way the values don't go through the roof and the taxes don't go through the roof, so the American people could actually live a good life. So that's my theory. You can call it conspiracy. But I mean, you think about
Well,
it. Why else would they ruin our finest cities in America?
well, I know that the Biden administration were hoping that all these illegals would vote, and he was hoping they'd vote Democrat so they could win. And we know this because they fought like hell to try to get them all voter registration cards to vote, which some states went ahead with. So you're right. There is always something behind it because there's absolutely no reason why somebody would want these level criminals to just come into our country. It's like, have we not learned anything since 9/11? I mean, it's bad enough that those terrorists were here on visas, but they're looking into all the visas now.
Well, Sal, when you say the 9/11, okay, and you can call me conspiracy theory and everything, whatever. I don't really care. We're too controlled and we're too safe of a country, okay, to just allow this stuff just happened. You know what I mean? Like 9/11. I always make fun of it, and I say, okay, yeah, you know, three Middle Eastern guys, a goat and a donkey, outsmarted the U.S. intelligence. Okay, tell me another one. The bottom line is, I think that our government is the one that not only allows, but I think they orchestrate all of these bad things that happen here in America. Okay, and they're done for a reason, right? It's to feed the economy. It's for us to put more money into the military fund, which is a slush fund for the United States. The people that run it, the people that run the United States, it's their slush fund. That's where they steal all the money and the contractors, the military contractors, and all that. But I think that they try to make this place unsafe on purpose to sift money. And the other part is what it does is it does stimulate the economy, right? We have to build. We have to build, ships, and we have to build missiles, and we have to build defense mechanisms for our country. There's a lot of things that we have to do when this place becomes unsafe. And forgive me if nobody agrees, but this country is way too smart, has way too much technology to not be the safest place in the world. So if you're telling me that this is the most unsafe place in the world because all of these mishaps sort of say, I'm gonna call you out and say that's a bunch of shit because this country should be the safest country in the world, the wealthiest country in the world, and the only reason we're not
Should be.
is
Yeah.
because of it's an inside job.
Well, okay. Well, that could be a topic for
There you
another
go.
show. We could get
There you
into
go.
that. I've definitely had my share of friends who think that whole 9/11 thing was a conspiracy, and I would love for us in the future to
Oh
get
yeah,
into that because I think your perspective would be interesting. I'm not sure I would agree with it, but it would be
that's okay. A
interesting.
lot of people don't agree with me.
But as we start to wind down here, I do want to bring up two more things that did take place this
Sure.
weekend. Doge, just this morning, it was reported that they found $12 million in Social Security checks that were going to people who were of the age 120 and older. So, so the Dems sticking up saying that this Doge is terrible. You got $12 million going to people who were at the age of 120 and older. It's just ridiculous waste of money. So that came out. And then one of the latest headlines is Trump has now revoked Hunter Biden's security service for him and his wife. Now, they're reporting this morning that involved, they had 31 Secret Service agents assigned to Hunter Biden and his wife, Ashley, and their kids. And he was going on vacations and everything. We were paying Our tax money was going for all this, travel to and from and everything. And I just think it's ridiculous that Hunter Biden had 31 Secret Service agents assigned to him, which could have been elsewhere for other people. It's crazy. You have an adult sibling or son of a president who's not in office anymore, and he was consuming taxpayer money up to 31 Secret Service agents. Isn't that crazy?
Well, who else is going to go to the beach bar and pick up some quesadillas or some pina coladas for this idiot? Okay, who's going to watch the cocaine when he goes and jumps in the ocean? I mean, the guy is. I mean, honestly, I agree with you, and I'm not going to sit here and cut on the guy because everybody realizes. But the thing is you're absolutely right. It's our government, which is my tax dollars and your tax dollars, paying for some criminal, okay, that stole a whole bunch of money from us to be protected, okay? When the guy had the guy probably couldn't put a puzzle together. The guy and the thing is like not only that, but look at all the money he's stolen from us, and we're gonna still pay money to protect him, and he wasn't even in office. Like, okay,
yeah, no, I know it's crazy, but the left is imploding right now. If you look at any we have, they didn't want to vote that bill in, and the Democrats were fighting it. And then Chuck Schumer, who is the minority leader for the Democrats, finally came out and said, no, we probably should sign this. Let's not shut down the government. And I think he convinced 8 to 10 other Democrats to go ahead and approve the bill. And the left is going crazy. AOC wants to primary him. They want him out. And they're just all imploding. There's a lot of infighting going on. There is absolutely no strong leader from the Democratic Party right now. And I think a lot of it is because they're just unwilling to change their mindset. And I think a lot of the people, based on this election, especially the independents like myself, are seeing no reason to go to the Democratic Party, even for the midterms, because the Democratic Party is at their lowest approval rating since the early 90s. They're terrible. They're imploding.
27%.
So they're doing this to themselves.
27%.
Is it 27%? Is that where it's at?
Yeah.
The lowest number. So, they're doing it to themselves instead of, the most moderate person on the Democratic side is a guy who wears a sweatshirt, a pullover hoodie, and shorts.
Fetterman?
In the Capitol. Fetterman. Yeah. He's the one that's making the most sense.
Which blows me away because I used to think the guy was mentally ill,
Well, yeah, but he's the one that's making the most sense. Nobody on that side, and I know we're winding down, we got about 4 minutes to go. No one on that side wants to be a little bit more moderate, although Gavin Newsom has his little show that he's doing now, and he is starting to come to the middle. I don't believe him. I think it's BS because he wants to run for president. But he so far is starting to come to the middle and agree with a lot of things.
Here's the thing, though.
Here's
the thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but here's the thing. When people jump the fence, okay, grass is greener type of guys, those are the people you cannot trust. The people that stick with how they feel, okay, those are the people you can trust. So if this guy is far left and he's all into destruction and theft and everything else, but you believe in it, right? And you believe in that guy, if you're a far left person, then he has more integrity by sticking with his guns. Yeah, we're here to burn down Los Angeles and plug up the fire hydrants and, steal money and allow illegals and all the nonsense. If I'm a far left guy and I believe in all that stuff and I think it's great, if that guy jumps ship and he jumps over the other side because the grass is greener over there, okay, that's not my guy because he has no integrity. So I don't trust these people that jump ship when it's not when things aren't going in the direction that they want. Now let me add one more thing because I know we're running out of time here. I wanted to talk about is did you see the press secretary when an official from France they said we want the Statue of Liberty back. We don't believe that you guys deserve it. And the smirk on her face and what she said made me laugh because I believe she's only 27 years old. She said, she said, the low level, official in France, okay, He should think
Right.
before he speaks, because if it wasn't for the lovely United States, France would now be speaking German. I was like blown away. I was like, this is
That's
awesome.
great.
I like how people are telling it like it is.
Big difference between Jean-Pierre last time getting up there, batting her
Oh my
eyes and lying
God. I
through her
want to,
teeth.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely going great. Don, another great show. We got some stuff. I am going to tease on the next show. I think we're going to have an update for the auto pen debacle that's going on. We have some updates about that. So the next show we'll touch on that. We'll also take a look at what is going on with these Epstein files. Where are they? When are they coming? What's going on? And I think we're also going to talk about what the 80,000-page JFK papers said, what they had on them, which we're hoping gets released today. I do want to tell everybody to go to our website. It's donhanstonshow.com. On there, you can see the picture of what we talked about, the wink from the Kennedy assassination. Also, if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button. Please, we need you to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell so you can get alerted when we have new shows posted. Also, check us out. We're now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We also go to our iHeart Radio page and also our YouTube channel. But thank you, everybody coming out. We'll see you next time on Straight Up, the Don Hanston Show.
Thank you.